Hello and welcome to the Texas 4000 Rockies stream. We are starting tonight with ride dedications, and ride dedications are a very important aspect of Texas 4000. Before every ride and before every team meeting, the team gets a chance to give ride dedications and remember the reasons why they joined Texas 4000. And so we're very excited to kick things off with a little video about how you can give your ride dedications before welcoming in a few of our riders to give their ride dedications and see what ride dedications you have for the team as well.
Texas 4000 is the largest annual charity bike ride that takes place every summer from Austin to Anchorage, Alaska, with the purpose of spreading our mission of hope, knowledge, and charity in the fight against cancer. A ride dedication is a way that we start a lot of our meetings or a lot of our rides. This is when we dedicate a ride or a part of our ride to somebody who has been in some way affected by cancer.
A ride dedication is motivation to me, because when I'm going up a steep hill or it's been a really long ride, the ride dedications that I hear from my teammates and myself are the reasons that I keep riding.
Due to the current circumstances surrounding COVID-19, it's no longer safe for us to do our typical bicycle ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. So instead, we've decided to do things virtually this summer.
So we will be having our cycling events virtually. We will be engaging with our community virtually.
A virtual ride dedication works largely the same way as a normal ride dedication. Before every meeting or before every virtual ride, you would say, I ride for this person. And if you want to, you can go into a little bit more detail about how that person touched your life.
You can submit your ride dedications via 3 different platforms. You can submit a ride dedication via the Texas 4000 webpage. You can join our Facebook live stream, or you can join our Zoom calls.
The virtual ride will be going on from May 29th to June 26th, and ride deds will be held before host interactions in the afternoon and at 7:30 to 8 a.m. Central Time every morning.
Thank you so much for participating.
Join us at texas4000.org. Together we can make a difference.
Awesome. And so that was a little bit about how you can make a ride dedication with Texas 4000. And so if anybody has any ride dedications throughout the next 30 minutes, feel free to put those.
So today is day 70, the last day.
Feel free to put those in the comment section on Facebook or YouTube. We're excited that YouTube is up and running, and so you can be watching from there as well. And before we get started with our ride dedications, I would like to welcome in a few of our riders from the Rockies route. And so tonight we have with us Toni, Allie, and Davica. And so welcome to the stream tonight.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, it is great to have all 3 of you on with us tonight. And I know that you have some teammates who are also standing by for the cycling portion of the evening as well. And so if you all wouldn't mind giving a brief introduction before we kick off with your ride dedications.
Yeah, so I'm Allie McConnell. I am the Rockies Ride Director. I'm excited to be here tonight and just ride with everyone and hear everyone's ride dedications to keep pushing us forward.
I'm Davica. I am the Rockies Travel Chair for 2020, and I'm also super excited to ride tonight.
I'm Toni Edgington. I am the volunteer chair for the Texas 4000 2020 team, and I'm looking forward to really riding with my Rockies team today. I miss them all. I'm sad we can't do it in person, but I'm glad we're here.
Awesome. And so if you all wouldn't mind kind of kicking it off and letting us know what ride dedications you may have this evening, and then we'll see if there's any that are coming in through the chat on Facebook and YouTube as well.
Yeah, I can start off. So today I'd like to dedicate my virtual ride, to the family and friends that kind of helped my family through our bouts with cancer. So my younger sister passed away from neuroblastoma when she was just almost 7 years old. And my mother is actually a skin cancer survivor. And, when I was young, when my younger sister was going through her treatment and battle, there was a lot of people that banded together. I was very blessed to have lots of families and friends. Our neighbors on our street that live next door were very supportive. I've been close to the families that we live by and their kids. Ever since I grew up on the street, I lived my whole life there until I moved to college. So, the Kerbo family, the Halberg family, Costin family, Cochran's, McGee's, there's a lot of help that went into making sure my sister had the best fight she could have, and our family was doing well during treatment. So I would just like to ride for all the families and friends and the caregivers that support, those that are going through a fight of cancer. So I ride for them today.
Thank you, Eric, for your ride dedication as well. We want to ride for Molly and Tana. And personally, today I would like to ride for one of our teammates, Colin, and his mom. We got news yesterday that after 7 years, she lost her battle to colon cancer. Sorry. She had a really big impact on me too, because and I think our whole team, she was one of those people that got to come down and like speak in at a time when we really needed some motivation. She just gave an amazing like speech and talked to all of us. So riding for Colin's family, I think our whole team is too. As you can see, Ray, we're all in it together for him.
I'd like to ride for a good friend of me who is watching tonight. I am so inspired by her strength constantly. She beat non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I have gotten close to her this past year, and it's been really great getting to know her, and her fight always inspires me. So riding for her today.
Hi, Mom. My #1 cheerleader. We're stoked too. Thanks for the support.
Yes, we'll be riding for Colin. Thank you for that. Toni, is that your mom? Or sorry, your dad?
Yeah.
Hi, Tony's dad.
We love it on every Facebook Live. It's so good to see.
They are 100% dedicated. Yeah, keep giving those Ride Dads. You can comment on the Facebook under our live event or on YouTube as well.
So do you all have any stories of kind of maybe unexpected ride dedications that came through that you came in with your original stories and everything, but we hear that a lot of people come out the other end of Texas 4000 with a lot more reasons to ride. Is there any that you could share with us?
Yeah, I can go first. I think one of them specifically was one of our other teammates, Bryn. She's a Sierra rider. Coming back from winter break, one of the first few meetings back, she had announced that her dad was diagnosed with cancer, and that one hit really close to home. So just that one really pushed me for the next few weeks, and honestly through today, to keep riding for my teammates, because she didn't sign up for her dad, but she's finishing for her dad, and I wanted to finish for her dad as well.
Yeah, I have one as well. So yeah, I think that's one of the most special things about Texas 4000 is we all have our reasons for joining and riding. The people we know that have been affected by cancer, but it's really the people that we meet along the way and the stories that they tell as well that really pull us all together and uphold the mission. We realize more and more that a lot of people are affected by cancer in one way or another. It seems like almost every person is, which is really hard to think about sometimes, but it's something that brings us together. And so one specific one that I think of, and a lot of these kind of spontaneous ride dedications that we get come through panhandling. And if any of our viewers aren't aware, one of the ways we fundraise is by panhandling on streets around Austin. So riders can go in groups at their own discretion during the weeks or weekends and panhandle for money from drivers. And we also do usually one event each semester where we, the whole entire team, and even both teams, the onboarding team and the ride year team, panhandle together one big day, and we usually raise several thousands of dollars in one single day. So yeah, a lot of the times we get news stories and ride dedications from panhandling, and one that really has stuck with me was, I was at an intersection, I think it was like Lamar and 5th Street, by the Whole Foods, and which is usually one of our most productive intersections. But I remember it was a Jeep with the top down, and it was parked on like the turn lane and right next to the sidewalk. And I walk up because their window was down, so it was easy. They couldn't ignore me. And I asked if they'd be willing to donate, and they gave me some money. And I said, "Is there anyone I can dedicate your donation to?" And the husband was driving. I assumed it was husband and wife. I'm pretty sure it was. And the husband was driving, and the wife was in the passenger seat. And she just started crying and covering her face. She was obviously like touched emotionally by what we were doing, and the jerseys we were wearing, and the mission that we are trying to accomplish. And the husband looked over to her, and she just couldn't talk. And so he said, she's a breast cancer survivor. And it just really touched me. Like, she wanted to say something to us, but she couldn't. She was so overwhelmed with emotion. But eventually she was able to get a few words out, thanking us for what we were doing. And the husband did as well. And so it was just very touching to kind of meet a stranger like that, and them to be so overwhelmed by what we're doing. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan is our Idaho Falls host, so thank you for watching and tuning in. One of my most recent spontaneous ride deads, I would say, would be to the person. So I bought a bike trainer off of someone on Facebook Marketplace, and he, when he dropped it off to me, he shared with me that he looked through my profile and at our website, and wanted to share that his wife beat breast cancer 17 years ago. So she's been in remission. So I'd like to ride for Tom and his wife. It's so great hearing stories from strangers and people willing to tell you things that are so personal and close and dear to them. And I love that we're able to spread our mission to people we wouldn't have otherwise gotten to meet or speak to.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many unexpected ways that ride dedications come through. We heard of 3 different ways, and just from the 3 riders on here, and I'm sure there's so many more ways from the rest of the team. And for those who are watching online right now, feel free to send in your ride dedications on the comment section on Facebook and on YouTube, and they'll show up here, and we'll be able to ride for them today. And as the riders will be getting on their bikes, and in about 15 minutes or so here, they'll be able to take those names with them through the hour that they'll be riding.
Thank you, Caitlin. We will be riding for your Aunt Lee.
Yeah, really devastating what COVID has done to cancer community and cancer patients and survivors. We'll ride for.
Thank you, Eric.
We'll definitely ride for Jeffrey.
Thanks, Chris.
And I wouldn't mind giving a ride dedication today. So today I'd like to ask for you all to ride for my mom. It's one of the original reasons why I got involved with Texas 4000. She is a breast cancer survivor today, but back in 2012, she was diagnosed, and very scary time. Those cancer hit close to my family and within my family multiple times, but I was young and very fortunate that everyone had been a survivor, and so I didn't really understand the gravity of it. And then when I'm in college and my mom gets diagnosed, I realized how scary of a thing it is. And so I'm always riding for her. My big motivation is to stay involved with Texas 4000. And so if you all could ride for her today, that'd be awesome.
Always, yes.
Chris.
We will be riding for Carlo as well, Denise. Thank you for sending this one in. And as Alex, too.
Thanks, Denise. Yep, it's coming back pretty fast.
What's Burson talking about there, Tony?
Yeah, so I actually, for those that didn't see our kickoff event, we had a event called Clip Out Cancer. So some of our teammates, so myself and Burson did it. He didn't do live, but he did it before. And Ali cut her hair, but we did that for to fundraise for our mission. So we did a match on, or a program on Be the Match, and kind of opened up with some ride dedications, and a lot of us shaved our heads, so it was a lot of fun. Oh.
Awesome. That's my mom.
Oh. Yeah, Mom, we always ride for Will. I always do, yeah. It's all in family.
So do you all have any stories from your ride year where you heard a ride dedication, or just one of your existing ride dedications that really helped get you through a tough day, whether it's on the bike or, as some people know, there's a lot that goes into everything in Texas 4000 in the planning, and you all have done a lot to plan for the summer and everything. Are there any ride dedications that really helped keep you motivated throughout?
Yeah, I would say it kind of goes back to the ride dedication I gave at the very beginning of today. It's, to me, this ride means a lot more than just the people affected by cancer directly in my family or friends, that fought cancer themselves, but also the people who supported us. Like, for me, it's something to give back to the caregivers, the nurses, the counselors, the doctors. So when I'm thinking about the struggles that we go through as a team, the challenges we're met with, even the hard stories we hear that are just like sometimes overwhelming. And cancer just seems like something that's just overwhelming, and it almost seems like sometimes that we're not doing enough. But that's what I think about. I think about all the people who are also fighting in different ways. We bike and we fundraise, and we spread knowledge and hope. But there's people that are doing that are in the same fight, and they're doing different things. They're on the front lines. They're helping their families. They're fundraising as well. And so I like to think of the other people that are fighting this battle in different ways. And if they can do it, we can do it too.
I agree. We have so many supports, and so many people fighting cancer that it's easy to find people to ride for all the time. I think riding for the people who do cancer research as well has been something that keeps me going, something that motivates me to know that someday we will beat all of this, and that our fight will have been for something great.
Thank you for
your nice messages, Mike and Baird. Go for it, Ross.
I was just saying thanks to Farid for the well wishes. Definitely very happy that she's a survivor.
We're going to keep commenting on Facebook with any more ride deads. Got a few more minutes left.
And riders, feel free to check in with your other teammates if any of them have ride dedications that they'd like to send your way to give on the stream tonight. We can definitely have those to make sure that everybody knows all the wonderful reasons that you all are riding. So Toni, I know that a lot of times we talk about writing for specific people and everything, but I know that you've been involved with a portion of your team and helping push some initiatives and everything, that being Be the Match. And could you tell us a little bit about that and maybe some of the reasons why you're so passionate about that and being able to bring that access to more and more people?
Yeah. So Be the Match is an organization that helps register people for the International Bone Marrow Registry. And so what it does is it helps connect, potential donors to patients that are in need. And so they're kind of like the advertisement for the bone marrow registry. They work with universities. So Be the Match has on-campus representatives, essentially. So they work closely with college students, especially organizations that are centered around cancer or health. So we work with some representatives here in Central Texas with Be the Match that work with our organization, also work with a few other organizations on the campus at UT Austin to help register students here and the community as well, just in Austin. And so I first signed up for the bone marrow registry at Austin City Limits, actually. And they had a booth there to sign up people. And I first heard about it at that table, and I signed up there. I think you have to be 16 or 18 years old, and I just turned that age. So I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And I signed up, and actually I ended up getting a call several months later, and I missed it. And I got a voicemail, and I called back, and I never heard, unfortunately. So either they found a better match, most likely. And so I'm still waiting to get, another call one day. But yeah, I've been signed up ever since, and I think it's just a cool way. It's you might sign up and you might never be a match for someone, but if you are, like, I can't imagine like what it would be like to really put yourself out there and help someone potentially save their life, and it's just really not that difficult. It doesn't take much time, and Be the Match is great about paying for everything. You don't have to do anything out of pocket. And so I think it's just a really great way. It's for a lot of blood cancers like leukemia. It's really the only cure that patients have, and so you're really giving them you could potentially give them the only solution that they have to cure their cancer and live a life. So that's kind of why I promote Be the Match a lot. And that's why I kind of take it on even more than previous teams as the volunteer chair. I really believe in the organization and what it does for cancer patients in the community. So yeah, I always write for the people that Be the Match and the work they're doing, and the patients they help and the donors they connect with. So
Awesome. Appreciate that, Toni.
yeah. So thanks, Scott, for We'll Ride for Uncle Charlie. That's great that he's a survivor. And I have a ride dedication from one of our Rockies teammates, Simon. So he would like to ride for his grandmother. He unfortunately never got to meet her, but helped his dad grow up through some tough times. She passed from pancreatic cancer. So Simon, our Rockies route is riding for your grandma, of course. We love you.
Awesome. Well, we are getting close to time here. I'll let you all read this ride dedication off in a second. But definitely, if anybody has any more ride dedications who's watching online, feel free to comment on Facebook or YouTube. And even once we've moved on to the cycling portion after this, the riders will be able to read those and continue to ride for them throughout the hour and the rest of the summer.
Thank you, Denise.
That means a lot.
Awesome. And so we are going to let the riders start getting ready to transition onto the bike. And so before we do that, I just would like to say that after break, we'll see the 2020 riders on their bikes, and we will have a special host, Edward Egros. And so Edward is a sportscaster and who you may have seen on TVG and Fox Sports Southwest. And he currently has a podcast with Vocal Now. So we're super excited to have him with us tonight, and you will see him and see us right after the break. Thanks so much.
And welcome back to Texas 4000 for Cancer's 2020 Summer Ride Cycling broadcast presented by Abbott. My name is Edward Egros, and I am your host for this evening. I am so excited to be here along with riders for the Rockies route. For those of you who don't know, Texas 4000 for Cancer is a nonprofit organization that cultivates student leaders and engages communities in the fight against cancer. The organization's cornerstone event is an annual 4,000-plus mile bike ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. I'm just exhausted thinking about it. The 78 members of the 2020 team have been preparing and training for their life-altering cross-country summer bike ride for 18 months. And due to COVID-19, they were forced to make the heartbreaking decision to cancel the 2020 ride to Alaska. The pandemic may have brought our world to a standstill, but cancer does rage on, and so the ride must go on, but virtually. For the month of June, this team is riding to Alaska virtually, and I am so inspired by the individuals on this team who have shown tremendous courage and creativity throughout this time. I am here to MC today's broadcast, and I am very much excited to be with you guys on this Thursday evening. I'm excited. I know the audience is excited as well. And most importantly, our riders are excited. Please make sure to post your comments and questions. I will relay them to the riders as we get going. And keep in mind, too, that our riders, it is a grueling race, to say the least, a grueling track. And so any inspiration that you can offer, any encouragement is, of course, very much appreciated. And, of course, sharing your stories as well is also fantastic. And so let me introduce you to the riders who are with us tonight as we bring them up here as they are on their bikes now. Let's begin with Toni Edgington and then Allie McConnell and Navika Raju. Thank you so much. Welcome very much. Feel free to wave and say hi. We'll do our singular introductions right now. Toni, let's go ahead and start with you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're going to school, what you're majoring in, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Toni Edgington. I am, of course, on the Rockies route. I am the volunteer chair for Texas 4000, and I'm in my senior year. I'll graduate this December with a degree in geological sciences and geosystems engineering. And I have plans to go on to graduate school to study geology.
That's terrific. And of course, it does seem like cycling and geology kind of go together, given that it's a bit of a travel log when you're riding out in the middle of nowhere, and then you can check out some cool things in the process, right?
Exactly. There's plenty of rocks to look at along the way.
Plenty of rocks, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Navika, let's go to you now. Where are you going to school? What are you majoring in? And what are your hopes and dreams afterwards?
Sure. I just graduated from Austin with a degree in public health, and I will be starting med school in the fall. And I'm the 2020 Rockies Travel Chair for T4K.
Terrific. And of course, with public health, I mean, this is definitely something where riding is something that you hope is much more commonplace. That it's an opportunity for others to sort of get on the healthy track too, right?
Absolutely.
Cool deal. And Allie, you're back on the bike, and so tell us about what you're doing and what you're majoring in and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot to unmute myself, but my name is Allie McConnell. I am the Rockies Ride Director. I just graduated with 2 degrees, one in neuroscience and one in Spanish, and I will be going to MD Anderson Graduate School in the fall.
That's terrific. That is wonderful. Again, thank you so much. It's absolutely wonderful to be with you guys. And of course, we have some of your fellow teammates here as well, joining you from Zoom as they cycle along with you. And we will definitely check in on them in just, there they are. Look at them. Everybody wave, say hi. It's great to see all of you here with us this evening on a Thursday night. And of course, this is very much an interactive process. So please, if you have the opportunity, hop on that stationary bike and join us, and we will all have a fantastic time. Riders of all skill sets are welcome here. So again, thank you very much. Please submit your questions for the riders and encouraging comments through the chat on Facebook, and hop on your stationary bike. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this. We will answer your questions during the broadcast, show your messages of encouragement, and I'll get things started with some questions for the riders, and so that we can learn more about them and learn more about this wonderful cause in Texas 4000. So let's go ahead and chat with riders some more as we get back to that. So first off, let's begin with, let's see, who do we want to, Toni, let's go ahead and begin with you. This is obviously something that requires an incredible amount of dedication. First off, tell me about the man hours that you've had to put into this event, what's required to be a part of the team, and some of the efforts that you've had to do as well, even off the bike.
Yeah, so kind of the general requirements for being on the Texas 4000 team is in three main areas. So fitness, becoming fit enough for the summer ride, and that includes training during our ride year, both during the week on our own in smaller groups, and then on the weekends, on Saturdays, on big team rides. So we start that in our second semester of our 3-semester program. So in about October, we started training on our bikes, October 2019, and we started with a few training camps together to learn how to clip in and ride on the road safely. And then from there, we essentially trained up until the ride with increasing mileage every week. And so we're required to hit 2,000 training miles before going on the summer ride. And then the other two areas are volunteering and fundraising. So volunteering, we're required to volunteer in our community 50 hours total before going on the summer ride. And that's broken up into our 3 semesters, the first semester being 25 hours in the Austin community, the second semester being 15, and the last being 10. So this past semester, everyone was working towards 10 hours of volunteering. And as a total, our team reached over 3,800 hours in volunteering in the Austin community. So, and then fundraising, we each are required to fundraise about $4,500, so $1 per mile, and for the summer ride. So lots of work to do, takes up a lot of time. It's almost like a part-time job. For some of us, it really is. So it's a lot of work, but it's worthwhile. And, of course, the pandemic threw us off a little bit, and we unfortunately had to change the summer ride to this virtual ride, but it took a lot of last-minute energy and pulling our heads together to come up with ideas for the virtual ride, but we're very pleased with what we're doing.
And I'm sure it's a situation too where I know the pandemic happening was a huge downer, but at the same time, you've invested so much time, effort, and energy into this experience and into such a worthy cause that you're not going to let that slow you down. You're still going to find ways to be creative and be a part of this.
Exactly. It was not going to stop us. It was terrible news, of course, and a lot of us were upset, but I'm really proud of how quickly our team turned around and was willing to come up with an alternative way to carry on our mission.
And what got you into Texas 4000 in the first place?
Yeah, so I actually heard about it in my first year here at UT Austin. My mom, being the helicopter mom that she is sometimes, she told me about the organization. And she said, look how cool this is. Our family had been impacted by cancer a lot. And so it was something that stuck out to her, and she let me know about it. And I said, isn't that just the craziest thing? You can never catch me doing that. And here I am. I had a really good friend that was kind of a mentor to me my first year, and she was on the 2019 team. And so she kind of pushed me to apply and made it seem less crazy than what I originally thought. And so here I am today.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Allie, let's go on to you now. And again, a couple of similar questions here. What about Texas 4000 you found so inspiring to where you felt like it was worth investing a lot of time, effort, and energy into the experience?
Yeah, I think something about Texas 4000 is that we have such a diverse team, and then we all come together to support one mission. It's unlike unlike any org I've seen on campus before, where we have people from all different backgrounds, but we've all been affected by the same disease. Some very personally, some very distant, but it's just been great to get to know each other through that.
You bring up a really interesting point that you get to meet a lot of different people from all walks of life. There's obviously that common bond, and that is this sense of service, this sense of wanting to make the world a better place by fighting off such a terrible illness. What is something that you've learned perhaps about yourself or about your team that maybe you wouldn't have had that opportunity to have had you not been a part of this?
Yeah, I think something my team has shown time and time again is how resilient we are, especially when we all come together. Just let alone this virtual ride, we can overcome anything together. So yeah, I think that's something I have been so grateful to witness, is just the resiliency of each and every one of my teammates. We have all had our ups and downs to get us to this point, and that we just keep pushing forward to fight cancer together.
And how much resiliency did this team need to show once the pandemic hit and you guys knew that you had to adjust a little bit for this event?
Quite a bit. I mean, honestly, I think as soon as we heard classes were canceled and UT was scrambling to get something together, we were like, how are we going to put on a virtual ride? But I think it's come to be one of the coolest things I've witnessed, because we've got to interact with people that we haven't been able to interact with in a few years. And we can really reach such a more broad audience.
That's terrific. Again, thank you so much for those live comments through our Facebook feed. They are very much appreciated. And certainly the writers, they have a lot to do. And so any encouragement is very much appreciated. So thank you very much for helping out with that. So as we continue talking to the writers here, I know one question that I had in terms of getting this all together is, obviously it took a lot of man hours to get this off the ground, but then to have to adjust as well. Devika, what is something about the resiliency that you've seen from your team that you found so inspiring and not surprising necessarily, because obviously everyone had to put a lot into it up to that point. But what were, I guess, some of the unique challenges that maybe we don't think about in terms of getting something like this off the ground when you have to adjust?
Sure. I think one of the hardest things for our team has been not being able to be with each other in person day in and day out. Certainly throughout our ride year, we've only been seeing each other more and more during our meetings and riding so often every week. And not being able to see everyone so often has been definitely hard for all of us. But the way that we have all come together and supported each other virtually has been so incredible to me. We have been finding new ways to make sure that we all keep in touch and check in with each other, whether it be via Zoom or just texting each other and calling each other and making sure that we're all there for each other, and checking in with every single rider, making sure that everyone is doing okay has been incredible. So I think being there for each other has been amazing.
That's terrific. And I know it's something where, yes, you guys have obviously shown a lot of resiliency. You have to be a part of an event like this. But at the same time, you're also creating a support system at the same time, where you're able to check in on each other and make sure the mental health is just as strong as the physical health required for this, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the most amazing things about this, I've gotten out of this org is how supportive everyone has been. I feel like even on my worst days, even on the hardest rides and the steepest hills, everyone has been able to support each other so much. And whether it's through the ride dedications that we share or the people we ride for, the stories that we share, it's just been so incredible to see how a group of students and all of my amazing friends have been able to support each other. I feel like our goal was always to carry all of these amazing stories to Alaska and we will virtually. But the way that we share each other's burdens and carry things for each other when things get hard has been very special to me.
That's wonderful. That's great to hear. And obviously, you're creating lifelong friendships through this, and then also, working on a very important cause. What are some of the reasons why you got involved in Texas 4000 in the first place?
Sure. One of the most important reasons why I joined Texas 4000 was to ride in honor of my grandfather, who passed away from pancreatic cancer. He was an incredible person, and to lose him to this fight was definitely hard. And I will always ride for him. Another person I joined for is my high school choir teacher, who beat cancer. So she is in remission, and I'm so proud of her and all the strength she embodies, and not just her, but everyone that we've always ridden for.
That's wonderful. That's great to hear, and definitely it's an inspirational story for all of us to hear why you're on the bike and why you've invested so much into this. So thank you so much for sharing that. Caitlin has a question from the Facebook feed that I want to ask all three riders. This is a good question. Do your bikes have names yet, and any fun stories on how they got their names? Toni, let me start with you.
So I don't have a name yet for my bike. Several of my teammates do. I was kind of waiting for the end of our training to conclude to determine a worthy name for my bike. And unfortunately, with everything going on, I didn't really come up with anything. So maybe by the end of the virtual ride, I'll have a name for them. But yeah.
By the way, because we have the live feed going on right now, Allie and Davika, if you have a name for Toni's bike, please go ahead and share that now, because that'll make some fun publicity there. So, feel free to drop some names. Allie, let me go to you. Do you have a bike name?
Yes, I do. This is my trusty bike, Grant. One of the reasons I ride is for my classmate and camper who passed away my sophomore year of college. Her name was Rachel Grant. And so I dedicated this bike to her. She was such a ray of light in everyone's lives. So yeah, I was going to carry this ray of light across the continent, but now I get to share it through the live stream.
That's terrific. That's wonderful. And Davika, your bike's name, if there is one?
Yes, my bike is named Blue, not like the color, but the LOO. And I named my bike after one of the characters in a TV show I used to watch when I was a child. So if y'all watched Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Blue is one of the characters in that, and that show reminds me of a time when I felt very loved and cared for, and just wanting to keep that alive for me and my teammates along the ride.
That's terrific. I have not seen the show, but that's a cool deal there. Very nice. Oklahoma will support T4K Rockies on Sunday by continuing the ride out from Edmond to Guthrie. They started in 2018. Lewis says he will lead the ride dedications. Thank you so much for that. Terrific insight there. Toni, let me go back to you. And, we talked a little bit about leadership roles within this organization. Sort of explain what those are and what comprises that in terms of what's required of you, the routes that are involved in this process, and anything else you care to share.
Yeah, so we have a leadership structure in Texas 4000 that is mostly consistent year to year. Every few years we have some changes, but for the most part, basically how the organization is structured is we have a board of directors, and then we have a staff with executive director, and then we have our team, which has their own student leaders and student positions. And so kind of how the team is structured with students is we have 3 routes, of course, Rockies, Sierra, and Ozarks. Each route is headed by a ride director. So Allie there is our Rockies ride director. Love her. And then we have an assistant ride director, which is Race. He should be on the Zoom call. But and then each route also has a travel chair, which is Devika for our team. So shout out to these 2 leaders. So the ride directors are essentially in charge of making sure that their team is successful in the planning. You know, each route has to go through their own, their own states, see their own hosts, plan their own logistics. And so, there's a set of unique problems that come with each route and challenges and things to accomplish. So Allie kind of oversees all of that, and Race, the assistant ride director, helps her out. And so we have our ride directors, our assistant ride directors, and then we have chair positions. And so, like I said, Devika is a travel chair. So she's in charge of securing hosts and planning the routes for the summer ride. And then we have other chair positions that are kind of across the team. So we have fitness and safety. So they're kind of in charge of our training program on our bikes. We have community engagement, which is Delisa. We have programs, Alex Miller, and I am the volunteer chair, so I'm in charge of our volunteering efforts. We have a fundraising chair, which is in charge of our fundraising efforts. And then below the chairs, they have their own committees of coordinators that work on completing the day-to-day tasks that need to be done. So there's kind of like this hierarchy of student leaders. You know, we're all leaders on this team, even if you have a position or not, but in the end, usually everyone has some kind of official capacity in how they're helping out the team. So, that's the point of this program, is to develop student leaders. And so we all take on our own roles and the mission of making it successful.
Allie, how did you get involved with leading the Rockies route?
So I got a chance of leadership throughout last summer. We have coordinators for our onboarding semester, so our first full semester in the organization, and then the summer, and then of course our ride year. So I was actually fitness and safety coordinator for the summer, and I really liked. It was an interesting aspect because I had to last summer we didn't have to be in Austin, so I had to just meet up with people online and make sure they were meeting fitness requirements through the internet, which is kind of what we're doing now. Looking back, it's kind of funny. But I really liked investing in my teammates in that way and setting them up for success. And this mission just really resonates with me. So you make a speech to the team, and then you do an application, and then you do some interviews with past ride directors and staff. And then, you get selected to be one. You can pick your route, and I was just fortunate enough to be selected as a Rockies RD, and I just wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, there you go. Sounds good. Megan has a question here on the Facebook feed. First off, way to go, Rockies riders. I'd love to know what you said to your families and telling them about Texas 4000. Devika, I'll start with you.
Sure. It wasn't the most popular idea in my house when I first said that I applied, just because it is scary and big, and I've never done anything like this before. Probably never will either, but they took it in stride, and now they are very big supporters of Texas 4000. I felt like one of the hardest things talking to my family about this was helping them understand how much it means to me that we are giving to other people who have gone through, who have been touched by cancer. So it wasn't an easy conversation, but it was definitely worthwhile.
Absolutely. Is it something where you're always traveling with your family whenever you do travel? Normally you're staying close to home, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to get on a bike and go all the way to Alaska.
Of course, that was most of it. And it's also that I will always be their child. And it's hard to let your child go on a big adventure like this.
Absolutely. Toni, I'd love to know about your conversation with your family as well about getting involved in something like this.
Yes, it was similar in that my parents were pretty concerned when I first brought the idea to their attention. My mother was the one that brought the organization to my attention first year. I think we both thought there was no way in heck that I was actually going to do something like this. But when it came to the time, I don't think I told my parents when I first applied. I think I waited till I got to the interview rounds, perhaps. I don't remember exactly, before telling them that I had applied. And they were a bit concerned because I'm ambitious and I had a lot of other stuff on my plate. And they were concerned that I was going to focus on classes and grades and whatnot enough. So they gave me a little bit of pushback, questioned if this was something I was going to do. It's not a decision to make lightly joining this organization. It is very time consuming, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would not go back on my decision. It's probably one of the best things I've ever done in college, and maybe in my life so far. But now they're avid supporters. You can tell they're commenting every few minutes. They're completely on board with it now, of course, which I'm very lucky to have that support. So.
Absolutely. And certainly family support is humongous in terms of what's needed to get through such a grueling event, no doubt about it. Every little bit helps to take care of that. I would like to ask, and I would love an honest answer here, did you ever do any homework while you were riding your bike?
No, I thought about homework while riding my bike. Thought about maybe, I should probably be doing this assignment or studying for that test instead of biking. But, it is what it is. It was a worthwhile experience. I was able to balance everything pretty well. But you're right. It was not going to be possible at all without the support of my parents. I really wouldn't have been able to be such a successful member of Texas 4000 without everything that my parents have done for me the past year. So.
Here's a comment. Looks like someone who may be new to this event, a guy named Mark Edgington. His mom and I agree with all he said. So there you go. The activity is terrific. Scott has a question. Allie, I'll go to you now. What are you most proud of that you've accomplished in your leadership position?
Yeah. So I, as a ride director, you can kind of oversee you pick your few committees you oversee, like volunteering, fundraising, fitness and safety. And so I oversaw fitness and safety. And I think our training plan, and I have to give it all credit to Bowen, who was our FNS chair, and then Simon, who was our Saturday ride coordinator. So our Saturday rides are our longest rides throughout the training year because no one has class, so they can't leave early. And they push boundaries with us in the most, the safest way possible. And I think just seeing everyone's mentality go from I can't do this to oh my gosh, we just biked 80 miles. That was our last ride before we left because of coronavirus. And just seeing that whole training plan and just everyone's mindset on the bike shift was really amazing to watch.
That's terrific. Devika, I'll ask you, what's something that you're most proud of in terms of what you accomplished so far with this?
Sure. So by being the Rockies travel chair, I've gotten to speak to so many people across the country to ask them to host us, and I've had some of the most incredible conversations with them. It's so special to me to see that people in so many different cities are able to come together and want to help a group of 27 college students fight this big fight. And so it means a lot that they are also fighting with us.
Terrific. Wonderful. One thing I want to do real fast, Denise, I will get to your question in just a bit. I would love to check in on the Zoom call with everyone else and see how everyone else is doing who's participating with us. This interactive live feed here. Everyone wave, say hello. We can all see you. Burning some calories and getting your sweat on. So that's terrific to see. And thank you so much for being a part of this as well. Hopefully I will be able to do the same thing very shortly because now I'm getting my adrenaline going, and I'd love to be joining you guys in just a bit. So let's get back to the writers here. You know, it's something, Toni, comment here from the Facebook feed. What's been your biggest challenge since having joined the team?
Yeah, so my biggest challenge, wow, you know, there's been some challenges. I would, you know, obviously say what's happened since the pandemic affected Texas 4000 and planning for the summer ride. That was a challenge. You know, it stopped our efforts in many ways. You know, it stopped our fundraising efforts. It stopped, you know, the volunteering that we were doing in our community, the training that was going on. You know, we were full steam ahead and ready for the summer ride. And just like that, everything stopped almost like in an instant. And it was just so hard to adjust to not seeing all my friends, all my teammates, the staff, pretty much like we did on a daily basis before that. You know, Texas 4000 is a very interactive program. You know, we're pretty much working on stuff every day since, you know, especially during our ride year, but pretty much since we joined. You know, there's something we're doing every day related to Texas 4000 for the most part. You know, whether it's biking, whether it's trying to fundraise, send thank you letters to our donors, you know, emailing posts, working on programs, making graphics, posting to social media. You know, it's something that we do every day. And essentially, when the pandemic hit the U.S. and in Austin, it was kind of like everything just dropped off for a minute, and I didn't know what to do with myself. You know, it was more than just Texas 4000, of course. You know, classes stopped. You know, stopped seeing my friends outside of Texas 4000. But I think that was the biggest challenge, was something I was so dedicated towards and I was working towards every single day just went on pause, and, you know, in the blink of an eye. So it was kind of like adjusting to that, finding ways, you know, to immediately continue the mission despite what was going on, adapting to the circumstances that were changing essentially every hour, it seemed like. So I'm proud of what my team has done. You know, we turned it around really quickly, and I still think we're doing some really great things and making a big impact despite those challenges.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that a lot of people can empathize with, because all of our lives have changed significantly in one way or another, and in a variety of different ways that perhaps we would have never imagined, never would have thought about. And so I think a lot of us, I think everybody who's a part of this feed, on the bikes, watching from home, can certainly understand in terms of having their lives affected in such drastic ways. At the same time, this is still a major event that you guys invested a lot of time, effort, and energy in. And so no doubt you're not going to let a virus certainly slow you guys down. And certainly that's wonderful to see. And again, it's also wonderful to get these Facebook comments with so much wonderful encouragement. So thank you, Emily, for that. Allie, I have more of a strategy kind of question, if I may. I know when you're dealing with mountainous terrain, obviously there's a strategy that you need to have going in terms of how much effort you need to put into specific parts. I'm curious, when things change and you are on a stationary bike, how that changes your overall strategy and approach.
All right.
I see your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. So on a stationary bike, it's one of those things that, while it's not real outdoor riding, it definitely gives you a good workout. Something that people don't really realize is when you're on a stationary bike, you don't get to coast. So in terms of going into a stationary ride, you just got to be ready for the long haul, for the hour and a half, 2 hours of just sitting there on your bike, pushing the whole way through. You can even, most of the trainers, you can make it even more intense, or like add more resistance or less resistance based on the kind of workout you want to do. Some are even called smart trainers, and you can like do that while you're riding instead of hopping off and adjusting it. In terms of a physical ride, though, in the hills, nothing beats it. You see it, you turn the corner, and you're like, oh crap, there's this huge hill in front of me. And so you just gotta shift down, get in your lowest gear, and just pedal up. It's always nice to have your teammates right along there next to you, chatting encouragement. You got this. We have a policy, we don't drop anyone. And so that means like we don't leave anyone behind. We always stick together. So riding up those hills together is just really motivating and really inspiring.
And you bring up a good point that obviously with the fact that you do have to check in on some things. You have to make sure that there's certain physical requirements that are needed to be a part of this group. And so certainly it's grueling to begin with, but at the same time, the idea is to not drop anybody, which is definitely great to see. Devik, how much bike riding have you done prior to this event?
Prior to T4K, Texas 4000, I did not bike that much. One of the amazing things about Texas 4000 is that every rider comes in at a different fitness level. So we have some riders who learned how to ride their bike with this organization, and some riders who are experienced cyclists. I'd say I'd fall more towards the former. I knew how to ride my bike, but that was about it. But it's been amazing to be a part of a group that makes you stronger every day.
That's wonderful. That's great to see. And obviously it's something too where, there's no shame in what you have coming in. But definitely, you definitely look like you're hitting the rubber pretty hard and definitely blowing past whatever competition that there may be. So that's terrific to see. Bill, certainly promoting the Rockies' longest training ride. Who wants to jump in on here? Did y'all get 100? Longest training ride, if anyone wants to boast about their accomplishment there.
Yeah, so our longest training ride was actually, we didn't quite make it to the century, but we hit 80 miles as a team. We made it out from campus to Buc-ee's in Bastrop, I believe. It was a Buc-ee's, that's all I remember. Because I got a nice sandwich for the rest stop. But yeah, that's been our longest ride. It was it was a beautiful day, just a great ride with everyone. I know some of our teammates did get to, we do group rides throughout the week, and they organized the century. So quite a few of our teammates have reached the century. I know Colin rode one during this virtual time. So yeah.
And of course, friendly reminder, this is the Texas 4000, so we want to make sure to mention Buc-ee's in all of this. And so thank you very much. It is fascinating, though. Claire, woohoo, go guys. Thank you so much for that encouragement. Certainly, too, Toni, I'll ask you. In terms of the grueling pace and the grueling distances that certainly you've had to endure, how much better do you feel like you've become as a rider through all of this?
Yeah, so I had some experience as a rider coming in, not as a road cyclist, so I'd never clipped in before, but I had experience trail riding on a mountain bike, and I was an avid cyclist to my classes. Every day I rode my bike to and from classes on campus, so biking is how I got around in college before joining Texas 4000. So I was comfortable on the bike, but I was a little bit nervous at first to clip in, and I have grown exponentially as a rider, not just physically. I've always enjoyed an active lifestyle, So Texas 4000, of course, is very intense in our training schedule to get ready for the summer ride. So, of course, we're growing physically in strength, but we're also growing mentally and our capacity to push ourselves further and further, as we make those longer rides each week. And so, really, since having to bike virtually on our own, it's become harder to bike longer because so much about biking is the mentality and the mental game. So biking on your own is just not the same as biking with a group of your teammates. Talking with your teammates and while on the bike and kind of enjoying the scenery and stuff, it really passes the time quickly and it makes it easier. So it's become harder to ride on our own, but still getting a good workout in.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And Allie, I know not riding with your friends certainly is a challenge. I would also imagine it's a challenge doing it indoors as well, where instead of seeing the gorgeous scenery around you, instead it's basically the same thing for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. How much of an adjustment is that?
It was definitely a little bit of an adjustment, but I think we found some ways to kind of push through that. One of my favorite things to do, I love seeing Danica and Toni ride alongside me. So getting a Zoom call together with our teammates has really pushed us through that. Also, what I love to do is to just throw on my favorite TV show, and that just really, if I want to sit down and binge Netflix for a little bit, I gotta be active while doing it. So it's been nice. So
are there certain shows that are better than others to ride with?
The more intense ones, I would say, are a little bit harder because then you just get stuck and you stop and just watch. So something light and fun, comedic.
Light and fun. So there you go. So for those who are interested in really dominating the stationary bike, light and fun, that's the way to go. And quickly, one moment of context as far as the requirements needed to be a part of Texas 4000. All of the riders needed to ride 50 miles in under 5 hours. They were aiming for 100 in under 10 hours, included all stops and issues. And so there you go. Megan has a question for the group. Do you all participate in other bike rides throughout the year? Devika, I'll start with you there.
Texas 4000 riders participate in include the LBJ 100, I believe. So that is a ride that all the riders do, and it's a part of our training year, one of our Saturday mandatory rides. But apart from that, we all ride together whenever we do ride. So we are all required to ride together.
Terrific. Very cool. Bill has a comment. Round Rock Donuts or Buc-ee's sandwich, which would you ride harder for? Allie is the Buc-ee's connoisseur. So now, by the way, Bill, Buc-ee's is misspelled. It is Buccee apostrophe S, if I'm not mistaken. I will assume that was spell correct there, trying to correct you incorrectly. Clearly, that's not a Texas spell checker. But Allie, Round Rock Donuts or Buc-ee's sandwich, which one matters here?
That is a really hard one. In my personal experience, a funny story is I ate too much our first rest stop at Round Rock Donuts. And so when you load up on 3 donuts and then try to ride 20 miles back home, things just don't go well. So I think Buc-ee's might have to have it. I'm probably in the minority on my team. We're a big fan of Round Rock Donuts.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Who else wants to jump here as far as that? Toni, which one do you prefer here?
Yeah, I have some input on this. This is a debate for me. Yeah, Round Rock, I love some donuts. Round Rock Donuts are some of the best donuts. Allie's right, it can be very dangerous. They're really cheap donuts, but they're so good that you can easily order a few too many, and then it is kind of difficult to keep your pace up on the way back. I had a problem at Buc-ee's as well. I don't think I got a sandwich, but I got quite a few other snacks. There was too much of a selection. That was the pitfall with Buc-ee's. So I think I ended up snacking on gummy worms mostly. So I put a bag of gummy worms in my back jersey pocket for the way home and was snacking on those every mile or so. So that was probably not the best decision, but they were pretty good.
So for the record, I have never had a Round Rock donut. I'm based in Dallas. I do make my trips down to Austin, but I have yet to have a Round Rock donut. What is something about it that makes it different than, say, some of your other streamlined donuts?
They're so fresh. I think the yolk is it's more orange, so I don't know what kind of eggs they use, but I think that might be their secret. Yeah, they're just really fresh, really warm. Yeah, the only other donut company I think could rival would be Shipley's. I'm from the Houston area, so Shipley's is pretty dominant.
Danica, what is your superfood for your rides?
I would go with goldfish. It's so easy to snack on. It's at every rest stop, and I'll put some in my jersey pocket, snack on it while riding, snack on it at every rest stop. It's so easy and so good. And honestly, anything I eat after a ride or in the middle of a ride tastes amazing.
Fair enough. Do you have one thing that you treat yourself to after a ride, saying, okay, if I get through this next stretch of 40, then I'm going to treat myself to something?
Sure. There's this wing place called Pluckers near campus I live, so I'll treat myself to some wings from there usually.
Pluckers is terrific. Bill is giving me some context. Round Rock donuts are as big as your head. Well, nothing can't go wrong there. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Texas size ones are pretty big. You can get some shareable ones, and yeah, that's dangerous.
Fair enough. I know, Allie, you were going to chime in here as far as snack foods and such.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I think I was circling back to Round Rock donuts. Definitely get the biggest size you can. I know I've seen a lot of my teammates tackle the Texas size donut, and I applaud them.
Terrific. Very cool. We've got another 10 minutes here to share with you guys. I'd love to check in with the Zoom group one more time before I ask Chris's question to the group. But definitely want to check in with everyone else who is participating here. Thanks again for being a part. Feel free to give a thumbs up or wave. It's great to see everybody here. Certainly it's inspirational to our riders, certainly inspirational to me and to the rest of us who are watching on this feed. So thank you so much for being a part of that. And you're getting a good workout in. Everybody looks great. Everybody definitely getting their sweat on, and that is great to see on their stationary bikes joining us for this Texas 4000 event. So let's get back to the riders. And obviously, whenever you're working on some kind of a road course, certainly accidents might happen. Flat tires might occur, as Chris is insinuating. And one question I have for you, Toni, how many flat tires have you had to fix?
I've been really lucky, and I've only had one on my time in Texas 4000. What's unique about our team is we are the first team to try tubeless tires. So instead of having tubes, we have a sealant that goes in our tires that essentially seals the tires to the rims, and we just pump that with air. So, if we could get a small puncture, maybe from a nail or a rock or something on the road, the sealant can actually fill that hole, and it's really sticky, so it patches it up. You just got to spin your wheel a bunch and keep riding, and then put some more air into it. So I think for the most part, a lot of our riders have liked the tubeless for the tubes, but we've all kind of had some different experiences. But I was lucky; I didn't get a flat until a little bit after we started virtually riding. So yeah, I've been pretty lucky.
That's terrific. Allie, if you don't have a flat tire story, do you have another story about the bike breaking down or something that you had to deal with during a ride?
Yeah, so I'm like Toni. I actually I've never had a flat tire. But, so like I've mentioned, and I'm sure you've seen us, if anyone's seen us riding on the streets, we ride in groups. And one of our requirements, like you said earlier, is a half century in 5 hours, so 50 miles in 5 hours, including all stops. So I have not had a flat tire, my half century group, within a stretch of probably 1.5 miles, had 3 or 4. That got us in, finishing our half century at approximately like 4 hours and 59 minutes and 47 seconds. We had 13 seconds to spare. So that was probably my favorite flat tire story.
Fair enough. Fair enough. One question that I want to ask all three of you here, sort of in our final minutes. What is something, Devika, I'll start with you. What's something that you want everyone to understand about this group, as far as not just the fight that you guys are a part of, but also perhaps ways that they can help out above and beyond just our live feed today?
I think I'm mute. Oh, I'm unmuted. So apart from engaging with our live feed, which we are so grateful for, you can always donate on our website, and also read through all of our why rides on our website as well. Kind of gives you a glimpse into why we joined and why we're fighting this fight. You can also host us if you live along one of our routes, and always reach out to us if you have any words of encouragement or anything at all.
And Toni, what's something that has helped you remain inspired and encouraged throughout this whole process? I know you've given a lot of thanks to your family for being so incredibly supportive, but is there anyone's story that really stands out in terms of what has kept you going during, say, the tough times?
Yeah, I couldn't do justice by giving one story. The successes of our team, and my time in Texas 4000 is a culmination of many people, many experiences, many challenges, and so it's hard to express my gratitude for so many people, for my teammates, for my family and my friends, the people I'm riding for, whether they're here with us still or not. It's Texas 4000 was something I wanted to do to show my gratitude to my community and to give back. And so I don't think I'll ever have the words to thank them. And so that's kind of why I signed up for this. I figured my actions would speak louder than my words. So all I can say is, thank you to everyone that has in some way helped.
Absolutely. A lot of people have been a part of your journey. A lot of people have been part of all of the riders' journeys as well. I would love to check in with the Zoom group just one more time as our riders are coming into the home stretch, as it were. It's again great to see all of you guys. Obviously this is grueling to say the least. Certainly a challenge, and again, it's great to see all of you guys, be so encouraging and being interactive as well throughout all of this. And so, thank you so much for that. I know the riders are very much, grateful for your participation as well. Sharon, great ride tonight, team. Love hearing all the stories and information you have all shared with us. I know I've enjoyed these conversations, no doubt about it. And so, appreciate that. And again, appreciate our riders who are joining us here on the feed. Allie, is there something that you could perhaps teach or share? Because this is obviously something that you hope extends above and beyond, just this one race, that this is something that others will be inspired to be a part of and invest the time, effort, and energy. And what's some advice that maybe you would give to the next round, the next generation?
Yeah, I would say something is to just, this might be a little cliche, but just make sure you're taking time to really absorb everything going on and being grateful for it. And just whether you're a host or a teammate or a supporter in any other way, just knowing how much you mean to us, and feeling free to reach out and just get to know the people that you are supporting, because we would not be here without y'all.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Devika, I'd love to ask you, if this pandemic, when, things kind of subside, what might be your way to, continue this in terms of either, having a road race on your own, or doing something else, as far as honoring all of the work that you put in and your team has put in as well?
Sure. There's something that riders every year always say when they reach Alaska. They say their thanks to everyone, but also that they are going to continue to find their next Alaska. And so I know all of us will have our big Alaskas, and I think one of my biggest Alaskas going on forward is to continue to fight against this terrible disease and support in any way that I can. Always give back to Texas 4000 and always be grateful for my entire team and for this organization and everything that we share. And also always just believing in our mission and our 3 pillars of hope, knowledge, and charity. There's so much we could do with it.
That's wonderful. And I really like how you phrased it. Everyone has their great Alaska, and certainly it's something where I know you guys have a lot of people who want you to continue to find your great Alaska. With this event, and there are a lot of people as well who are appreciative of the effort that you have done as well, who are also trying to find their major life goals. And so, Toni, Allie, Devika, it's been a real pleasure talking with you guys, and it's also been inspirational seeing you guys on the bikes and for learning more about all of the efforts that you put into the Texas 4000. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and hosting us tonight as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Remember, you can make a ride dedication anytime at texas4000.org. Please make sure to come back tomorrow night when you can meet more riders for more ride dedications. And of course, the cycling begins at 8 o'clock in the evening. You can donate to Texas 4000, or you can purchase Texas 4000 2020 team cycling jerseys and other merchandise, all to help support the fight against cancer at texas4000.org at any time. Thank you again to our presenting sponsor, Abbott, and to all our sponsors of the 2020 Summer Ride. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a good one, and we hope to see you tomorrow night. Take care.